And hello everybody, welcome back to episode number 91, I believe, of the CheckX series. If you're new here, as I say every day, the CheckX series is pretty much all about me, your host. I've been talking about everything that Elon posts about and discusses about on X the day before, and today we're going to talk about what he posted about yesterday on Monday, March 2nd, 2026, and a couple days before, pretty much for the entire weekend as well. I'm going to add in a couple things here because I did miss yesterday's episode and the day before, so I apologize for that. So we're gonna make that up a little bit, so it might be a slightly longer episode here. But to start off, actually not as we usually do, starting off with artificial intelligence and computing. Starting off the episode, Elon argued that the AI community underestimates the potential for intelligence density by 2 orders of magnitude. Elon also believes that algorithmic improvements could lead to a 10x improvement per year for the foreseeable future. And Elon also noted that the Tesla AI 4 computer, which handles the complexities of real-world driving, uses only 1/4 of the power of an H100, reinforcing his conclusions about intelligence density. Moving on, Elon also predicted that China's domestic chip production will be competitive with Taiwan in raw compute within 3 to 5 years, though it may be less power efficient. But also, last couple things here, Elon announced that the release of Grok Beta 2 and agreed with assessments that certain 2015 articles on AI have held up better than most writing from the time. And also, Elon reacted to news of human brain cells being taught to play the video game Doom, calling the fusion of biology and silicon creepy. Last but not least here, Elon commented on the roadmap for 6G, which is expected to begin commercial standards validation in 2028. Moving on to SpaceX and Starlink here to start off this segment, Elon confirmed that SpaceX is preparing for an initial public offering, IPO, filing in March with a potential $1.75 trillion valuation to fund Mars colonization and other projects. Elon also stated the expanding humanity to the stars is necessary to avoid a risk of a mouse utopian behavioral sink, referring to a social collapse experiment involving rodents in a high density environment. Moving on, Elon also promoted the development of Starlink V2 satellites, which will provide 5G speeds directly to cell phones in remote areas through partnerships with providers like Deutsche Telekom. Last but not least here, Elon clarified that it is a violation of terms to use commercial Starlink for weapons. Instead, the U.S. government operates Star Shield, a separate network with different satellites and infrastructure. And energy and infrastructure, And moving on, Elon also, moving on to energy and infrastructure here. A couple things to talk about here to start off. Elon agreed with the logic that nations with the most electricity will run largest data centers and lead in AI and military power, noting China's massive lead in electricity generation and clean energy production. And moving on, last 2 things here. Elon posted information regarding China's massive 4 gigawatt solar farm built on abandoned coal mines. And last but not least, here, Elon praised the engineering of ancient Egyptians. And noted that Akhenaten created the first monotheistic religion created on the sun, which he suggested people should be like. And moving on to talking about the X platform as a general thing, formerly Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Elon highlighted a new feature on X for paid partnership labels, emphasizing the importance of authenticity and accountability on the platform. Last but not least here, Elon celebrated March 1st as the biggest day in X's history for usage, following previous records set in late February. Moving on to social and political commentary here. A couple things to talk about here, also including some of the other days. Starting off, Elon argued that the term indigenous should logically apply to Europeans in their respective homelands, such as the English, French, and Spanish. such as it does to the other groups in Americas. Elon also in the Americas. Elon also further stated that English is an ethnicity, comparing culture to software and ethnicity to hardware. And moving on, talking about modern warfare, talking about modern warfare. Regarding recent conflicts, Elon asserted that drones and hypersonic missiles are the only weapons that will matter in future wars, as crewed aircraft will become too vulnerable. And also, Elon posted several times about violent crimes through the past few days committed by immigrants in Europe and the U.S., criticizing sanctuary jurisdictions and madness in current policies. And last two things here, and then we'll add on a couple things about the Epstein files here, starting off. Or no, not starting off, excuse me, talking about birth rates. Elon commented on a declining U.S. birth stat, declining U.S. birth stats, agreeing that feminism has contributed to a baby recession. And last but not least here, Elon estimated that at least 10% of the American economy is based on fraud. And moving on to the Epstein files, just two things to talk about here. Starting off, Elon commented on the deep dives into the Department of Justice files, or DOJ, regarding Jeffrey Epstein, specifically criticizing Reid Hoffman and noting Epstein's extensive infiltration of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Last but not least here for the episode, Elon endorsed a summary showing that he had no financial transactions or trips associated with Epstein, though he clarified he did not cry during a specific call with the New York Times, as some had claimed. And ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps up episode number 91 of the CheckX series. If you guys made it all the way to the end, appreciate you guys for watching. This is pretty much just a mix of all the things the day before. He didn't post too many times the other 2 days that I missed, but I still apologize for that. But we made it up today, and we're going to be back on schedule, hopefully. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this episode, and I hope to see you guys later. Thanks for watching.